What if your greatest breakthrough isn't found in chasing others, but in focusing on yourself with relentless discipline? Most people drain their energy proving something to the world, but winners, they build in silence, choosing growth over approval. Because when you focus on you, you sharpen your edge, you silence the noise, and you become undeniable. The difference between noise and impact is focus. So block out the world, put the spotlight on your own progress, and don't stop until you win. In a few moments, I will teach you how focusing solely on yourself creates strength, silence, and momentum until you finally win. Every man searches outward for approval, for applause, for proof that he is becoming something. But what if the real proof lies not in what the world says, but in what you say to yourself in the silence of your own soul? You are told to chase money, recognition, relationships, and rewards, but none of these will serve you long if the man inside is left unfocused and undisciplined. The moment you stop checking how others are running and start checking your own steps, you begin the real race. Why is this important? Because your focus is your power. It is the rudder of your ship. It tells your future which direction to prepare for. If your focus is scattered on 10 different shores, you'll never reach any of them. But when it narrows to one, the right one, it will cut through every storm. What does that look like? It looks like a man who turns off the world for a season and builds quietly, like the craftsman who polishes a masterpiece no one sees until it's too brilliant to ignore. So ask yourself, are you focused on becoming, or are you distracted by watching others become? Are you watering your roots, or just decorating your branches? The man who learns to look inward before outward will soon find everything outward bowing to his inward strength. Begin there. Stay there. Win from there. Build a wall around your attention. Your attention is your treasure. Guard it like a kingdom under siege. Every whisper from others, every comparison, every subtle judgment, they are arrows aiming to pierce your focus. But you must not flinch. A man who protects his attention builds an empire. Why does this matter? Because whatever holds your attention owns your future. If gossip gets it, you shrink. If regret gets it, you stall. If purpose gets it, you rise. But how do you make your attention unshakable? Begin by choosing what enters your eyes and ears. Choose your conversation. Choose your thoughts. Say no more often. Cut shallow obligations. Trade being liked for being clear. And above all, stop explaining yourself to people who are not building with you. Imagine a farmer who checks his neighbor's crops every morning. He forgets to water his own, and come harvest season, he has nothing but envy. Now imagine you. What could you build in a year if you stopped checking how others are living? What would happen if you poured that energy into you? This is not selfish. It is sacred. It is the beginning of everything great. Focus is not a suggestion. It is survival. Will you waste it or will you wield it? Become dangerously consistent. You don't need more goals. You need more repetition. Most men fail not from lack of ambition, but from lack of consistency. They dream in castles but build with paper. You begin with fire, with vision, with a plan, but the moment the winds of boredom or resistance begin to blow, you flicker. You start strong on Monday, and by Thursday, you negotiate. You say, maybe I'll do it later, maybe tomorrow. And with every compromise, you teach your mind that effort is optional. Yet the man who wins is not the one who starts with the loudest noise, but the one who walks forward even when the applause fades. He moves even when no one claps, even when no one notices, even when the reward is far away. Why? Because he understands a secret. Every act you repeat, even in silence, is shaping the man you become. You are not defined by your goals. You are defined by what you do daily. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. And here lies the difference. Most men worship inspiration, but inspiration fades. The wise man worships structure. He builds it into his life like a rhythm, a drumbeat that never stops. He becomes a creature of consistent motion. He keeps showing up after he's tired, after he's overlooked, and through repetition he becomes what others call lucky, what history calls unstoppable. So, how do you become that man? Start by making fewer promises. Don't declare 100 intentions. Declare one and keep it. Let your soul learn that your word has weight. Build a schedule, not a fantasy. Follow it like a soldier follows orders. When your feelings say no, let your principles say yes. Do the thing again and again and again until it bends reality to your will. Ever heard of a blacksmith? He doesn't strike the iron once and expect it to change. He hits it with rhythm, with heat, with patience. He hits it until it becomes what he envisions. You must be like that with your body, with your craft, with your character. Life does not yield to dabblers. It yields to the dangerously consistent. So ask yourself today, have you been flirting with success or forging it? Have you been writing intentions or carving results? Are you still negotiating with your excuses, or are you commanding your future? The man who becomes dangerously consistent, who trains his hands, his tongue, his mind to show up daily, rain or shine, he becomes something more than human. He becomes inevitable. Time bows before such a man, and fate takes notice. Keep striking. Keep showing up. Let others chase motivation. You chase mastery. For in the end, the world does not reward potential. It rewards proof. And proof is born in repetition. Silence your inner enemy. There is a voice in your head. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it shouts. It pretends to protect you, but it only paralyzes. It tells you you're not ready, not good enough, not made for more. It digs into your memories and pulls out every flaw, every mistake, and presents them like facts. But this voice is not the truth. It is sabotage dressed in your own tone. It is the enemy that lives rent-free inside your own house. And until you evict it, you will keep locking yourself out of the future meant for you. What makes this voice so powerful? It knows your secrets. It speaks with familiarity. It sounds like your own thoughts. It repeats the fears you've whispered in the dark. It doesn't come at you like a stranger. It comes like a friend, like a guardian, warning you, shielding you. But its warnings are lies. Its shields are chains. It plays your failures on loop as if they are prophecy. But prophecy is not prediction. Prophecy belongs to the man who writes it, not the man who fears it. So how do you defeat this enemy? You don't argue with it. You speak louder than it. You declare your truth. You write down what is noble in you, what is excellent, what is eternal, and you read it aloud, not once, but daily. You become your own advocate. You shift from inner criticism to inner coaching. You stop reciting what went wrong and start rehearsing who you are. Your words are weapons. Use them. Speak like a man who commands his own soul. The voice of doubt must never be allowed the final word. Speak your values. Speak your goals. Speak your identity. Until that inner saboteur is drowned out by the truth of who you really are. Surround yourself with people who reflect your strength, not your insecurity. You do not need echoes of fear. You need mirrors of courage. Seek those who sharpen your edge, who remind you that you are not alone in this battle. For no man wins a war by himself. You are not failing, you are forging. You are not behind, you are becoming. Just as a blade is hammered and heated before it shines, so too must your soul be tested before it triumphs. What feels like delay is often divine preparation, and what feels like defeat is often disguised development. Picture a captain in the middle of a storm. The waves rise, the crew panics, fear spreads like fire. But the captain does not shout in fear. He speaks above the storm. He holds the wheel. He sets the course. He commands. That's who you must be. Will you be the crew reactive, scattered, overwhelmed, or will you be the captain of your own mind? The voice of fear will always knock, but it is you who decides if it gets a seat at the table. Until you conquer the inner voice, no outer victory will last. You can win the deal, earn the praise, gain the success, but if your own mind is against you, peace will escape you. So quiet the lie, amplify the truth. Don't just think it, declare it. Don't just hope for strength, train it. Build your inner voice like a warrior builds his sword, with focus, with practice, with fire. Because once your mind believes, your life will follow. And when the truth in you becomes louder than the lie, there will be no storm you cannot command. Walk alone until you attract. Tribe, you want support. That's natural. You want applause. That's human. You crave connection, affirmation, a circle that sees you. But don't beg for it. Don't chase the hands that won't clap unless you shrink yourself. Earn your tribe by first becoming someone who doesn't need one to stand tall. How? By walking alone. Not forever, but long enough for the walk itself to change you. When you carry your fire in solitude, it grows brighter, steadier, unstoppable. In that fire, it becomes a beacon. The right people do not need convincing. They are drawn to light. This truth is hard because it cuts against our oldest instinct, the need to belong. From childhood, you were wired to fit in, to avoid rejection, to win approval. But there is a cost to this craving. The man who rushes into every crowd in search of warmth often forgets the fire within. He conforms, he mimics, he loses himself, until he's not even sure what his own voice sounds like. Before you become social, you must become solid. Before you seek acceptance, you must seek alignment. Alignment with what? With your values, your vision, your voice. This is not arrogance. This is foundation. You do not become valuable by being seen. You become seen by becoming valuable. So how do you start? Choose solitude, not loneliness, solitude. Loneliness is emptiness. Solitude is presence. It is the forge where greatness is made. Use it to think deeply, act deliberately, train consistently. Let it sharpen your instincts and strip away your noise. Get so clear on your mission that distractions find you boring. Picture a lion among sheep. The lion does not beg the herd to crown him king. He does not explain himself. He does not lower his roar to comfort their ears. He stands in his strength. And the right ones recognize it. So must you. Ask yourself, are you shrinking your spirit to be accepted by groups who do not value your essence? Are you softening your voice to blend in with a chorus of confusion? Or are you willing to be misunderstood for a time until you are respected? Understand this. The road of solitude is not a curse. It is the training ground. It is where kings are made. It is where voices are refined and resolve is built. When you stop fearing the lonely path, you begin to own it. And the man who owns the road eventually commands the crowd. So walk it, with your head high, with your spine straight, with your purpose in hand. Let your silence be your training. Let your discipline be your declaration. Let your life become proof that you did not need permission to become powerful. Because one day they will come, the ones who resonate, the ones who rise. And they will not ask, can I follow you? They will simply fall into step. Because real tribe is not found, it is drawn. And only those who have walked alone can lead others with strength. Let the lonely road refine you, not define you. Be willing to walk it, and soon you won't just find a tribe, you'll lead one. You owe you everything. No mentor, no partner, no miracle. That may sound harsh, but it is the highest form of freedom. Because once you stop waiting for rescue, you start building your own ladder. You start becoming the answer. The moment you take full ownership of your life, you take back your power. Not just emotionally, but practically. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? Why is this shift so powerful? Because the man who blames, delays, he transfers his power to his past. But the man who takes charge accelerates. He becomes a force of movement. He refuses to let excuses outlive his dreams. He understands this truth. If your vision is sacred, your excuses must be sacrificed. So what does it mean to owe yourself everything? It means doing the work when no one claps, waking up early when no one tells you to, holding yourself to a higher standard, not because someone is watching, but because you are. It means choosing the hard thing before the easy one, discipline over comfort, purpose over pleasure. It means showing up as your future self now. Stop waiting for motivation, create it. Motivation is a result, not a requirement. Action comes first. Motion breeds emotion. When you move, clarity comes. Strength follows. Stop asking for permission. Claim it. The life you want will not be handed to you. It will be forged by you. One decision at a time. Picture a builder standing before a vacant lot. There is no applause, no blueprint, just a vision and a will. He starts with one brick, then another. Every brick is a promise. Every strike of the hammer is a vow. He does not wait for help. He becomes help. Until one day a castle stands where emptiness once ruled. Will you lay your bricks, or are you still waiting for someone else to bring the cement? The truth is this: every result in your life is a reflection of the standard you've allowed. If you tolerate mediocrity, you live in it. If you demand excellence, you rise into it. So, raise the standard. Not tomorrow, now. Not when you feel like it, especially when you don't. Because every day you delay is a day you deepen the gap between who you are and who you could be. You owe you. Not your past, not your pain, not your doubt. You owe your future. The one waiting for you to show up. The one asking, are you ready to stop watching and start building? You want transformation? Then stop outsourcing responsibility. Take the pen. Write your path. Lay your bricks. Stack your proof. This life is your construction site. It is messy, it is slow, it is silent. But every nail you drive, every hour you commit, every choice you master builds the fortress of a man who is unshakable. You don't need saving. You need structure. You don't need approval. You need execution. And when you understand that you owe you, everything changes. Not because the world gets easier, but because you get stronger. Now prove it. Your standards determine your story. Your life will never rise higher than your standards. Not your dreams, not your intentions, your standards. Because while dreams may lift your eyes to the sky, only standards train your feet to walk the path that gets you there. A man may speak of greatness, but if his standards are low, his actions will betray him. And life will always echo action, not ambition. Dreams inspire, yes, but standards build. And the man who builds high must first dig deep. He must declare to himself not once, but daily, this is my line, this is who I am. For the man who sets a high standard and never breaks it becomes like a fortress. Life may strike, storms may howl, but the walls do not shake, because the foundation was never negotiable. Why does this matter? Because when the winds of adversity blow, you do not rise to the occasion. That is a myth. You fall to the level of your system. And your system is only as strong as the floor beneath it, the line you refuse to cross, even when it costs you. That floor is your standard, not the one you tell the world, but the one you live when no one's looking. So how do you raise that floor? Start with your non-negotiables. Not 10, just 1. Then guard it with your life. Say no to the path of least resistance. Say no to just this once. Say yes to this is who I am. Because when you start defending the standard starts defending you. Refuse the easy way. Reject what insults your soul. Deny what feels good now if it steals from what matters forever. The man who refuses to cheat the blueprint, who builds with integrity, brick by brick, day by day, becomes untouchable. He is not dependent on applause. He does not bend when mocked. He shows up when it rains. He shows up when it hurts. And over time, his consistency becomes legacy. His name begins to mean something. His presence becomes a message, because everyone around him knows he doesn't break the line. And that is rare. That is respected. That becomes power. But the question remains, what are your standards behind closed doors? When no one is watching, who are you? Not the version you post or perform, but the one who stands alone in silence. That man is writing your future, not the dreamer, the decider. And the beauty of standards is this: you don't need anyone's permission to raise them. You don't need the world to agree. You only need you to decide. Because once you elevate the standard, the story must follow. Life cannot help but reflect what you consistently demand. So choose the higher floor. Hold it, guard it, build from it. And one day, without trying to be inspiring, without shouting your worth, others will look to you and say, there stands a man whose standards shaped his story. Let that man be you. Your pace is your power. You've been told to hurry, to keep up, to move faster, or risk being forgotten, but no one told you the truth. Speed without direction is disaster. It feels like progress. It looks like ambition, but it often ends in exhaustion, regret, and misalignment. The world runs in panic. You must choose to move in purpose. Because the moment you trade your pace for theirs, you abandon your path for theirs. And in that trade, purpose dies. Comparison is not motivation. It is corrosion. It eats at your center until your journey no longer feels like your own. The man who understands his pace owns his future. He doesn't rush to impress. He doesn't panic when others seem ahead. He knows something they don't. Life is not a race. It is a rhythm. And rhythm, once discovered, becomes a secret weapon. Why is pace so powerful? Because pace guards your energy. It shields you from burnout. It protects you from distraction. It saves you from self-sabotage. The man who knows his pace refuses to sprint toward goals that don't matter. He doesn't trade his soul for speed. Instead, he builds with intention. He learns the rhythm of mastery. And real mastery is never built in sprints. It is carved in stride. So how do you find your pace? Stop watching theirs. Start listening inward. The answer is not in the crowd's applause. It's in your own breath, your own steps, your own spirit. Learn to hear your inner tempo. Design days that support depth, not just hustle. Choose one hard thing and do it well. Eliminate the noise. Embrace the discipline of slow, deep, and focused work. Build slowly, but with no retreat. Let each action be a brick. Let each day be a foundation. Imagine a marathon runner who starts sprinting at mile 1. He flies ahead for a moment, but the weight of unsustainable speed breaks him. He collapses, he regrets, he fades. But the man who knows his rhythm, he endures, he conserves, he outlasts them all. Because his power is not in speed, it is in sustainability. Ask yourself, are you chasing the world's timeline, or are you building your own? Are you counting how fast others rise, or are you measuring how deep you go? What if your timing isn't late, but perfect? What if your pace is power in disguise? What if your patience is the very thing positioning you for permanence? Walk in that, own that, trust that, because when you do, you will arrive. And not just anywhere, but exactly where greatness was waiting. Not by accident, but by rhythm, by mastery, by walking the path only you could walk, at the pace only you could hold. You don't need to be first. You need to be faithful. Keep your pace, keep your power, and the world will wonder how you lasted, how you rose, how you built what no one else could. The answer? You didn't rush. You remembered who you are, and you moved in that rhythm until the world caught up. Mindset makes the man. Your mind is not merely a tool, it is the throne. And whatever reigns there, fear or faith, doubt or discipline, will rule your life. Every word you speak, every step you take, every choice you make begins in the hidden halls of your thinking. The mind is not passive. It is the architect of your reality. And your mindset, that is the gatekeeper. It decides what stays and what gets rejected. It filters every moment, every opportunity through the lens of belief or limitation. This changes everything, because if you take hold of your thoughts, you take hold of your life. If you shape your inner world, your outer world bends to match it. The man who masters his mindset cannot be moved. He does not crumble under pressure. He does not inflate with praise nor deflate with insult. He is anchored not in mood, not in emotion, but in principle. He leads himself, not by whim, but by truth. So how does such a mind get built? It begins where few are willing to look, in the silence of self-observation. Audit your thoughts. What runs on repeat? Are you speaking to yourself like a champion or a coward? Is your internal voice lifting you or limiting you? Most men lose the battle before they even enter the arena because their inner dialogue has already declared defeat. Flood your mind with truth, not flattery, not delusion, but eternal, unshakable truth. Speak it, read it, repeat it until it becomes more familiar than the fear you once entertained. You must be vigilant, not once, but always, because the enemy doesn't knock on the front door. He whispers through your own voice. He tells you to settle, to wait, to stop. Silence him with truth, and then act like the man you want to be, until you become him. Identity is not inherited. It is forged. Every time you choose discipline over ease, truth over excuse, order over chaos, you cast a vote for the man you're becoming. Discipline is not about feeling like it. It is about being it. Faith is not emotion. It is decision. Victory is not luck. It is consistency of mindset under pressure. Picture a warrior. He sharpens his blade each morning, not because a battle is promised, but because a battle is possible. He doesn't need applause to prepare. He doesn't wait for trouble to get strong. He prepares daily so that when the test comes, he is already fit to overcome. That must be your habit, not with weapons, but with thoughts. Your thoughts are your sword, and every belief you carry is either sharpening you or dulling you. Are your thoughts fighting for you or against you? Have you become your worst critic or your greatest ally? A divided mind will sabotage a determined man, but a fortified mind becomes a fortress. It absorbs chaos and stands firm. Until your mindset becomes that fortress, you will fight every battle twice, once in your mind and once in the world. And too often, the first battle is the one that breaks you. But build it right, with clarity, with truth, with repetition, and the external trials lose their power. The world may press, but it will not penetrate, because the throne has been claimed, the ruler is awake, and the kingdom of your life is now under rightful rule. Delayed gratification builds unbreakable men. You've been tricked into chasing now, into needing quick wins, fast likes, easy praise, into thinking that urgency is virtue and that value is measured in applause. But the truth is clear. Nothing legendary is built in the short term, not character, not greatness, not legacies. The world will sell you shortcuts, but the path of purpose has no detours. It demands patience. It rewards discipline. It honors the one who waits. The man who wins long is the man who delays now. He is not addicted to the thrill of the moment. He is anchored in the vision of what could be. He doesn't feast because he's hungry. He builds because he is called. And that is rare, because it requires pain. It means saying no when everyone else says yes. It means sacrificing comfort in silence while the crowd laughs in ignorance. But this is the mark of every great man. He does not trade the future for the present. He builds the present for the future. His name becomes weight, not because he sprinted, but because he endured, because he withheld, because he waited, not passively, but strategically. How do you become such a man? You start by saying no to what weakens you. You identify the comforts that kill your potential, and you remove their throne. You delay the sweetness of the moment for the strength of your mission. You starve the impulse that says now, and you train your appetite to bow to your vision. Like a craftsman, you practice saying no, not because you hate pleasure, but because you honor power, and power always flows to the disciplined. Picture a sculptor. He does not rush. He does not seek applause after every strike. He chips away, quietly, consistently. He studies the stone. He lets time serve his hands. Years may pass, but he does not waver. And one day when the veil is lifted, the world sees a masterpiece. But what they miss is what made it possible. 1,000 days of saying no. Ask yourself, what are you choosing today that is costing you 10 tomorrows? What cravings are stealing your crown? What habits have you convinced yourself are harmless, yet they keep you average, untested, unseen? Are you investing in a future that will honor you, or escaping the present that demands you rise? The man who delays gratification is not missing out, he is positioning. While others trade away greatness for the moment, he quietly compounds power. He stores energy. He multiplies potential. And when the day comes, when the noise fades, when the race turns long, when the test gets real, he does not panic. He performs. He endures. He wins. And the world will wonder how he rose so high, how he made it look effortless. But you will know he paid in advance, in silence, in sweat, in sacrifice. This is your invitation, to turn away from the cheap thrill, to lift your eyes from the instant to the eternal, to build like a man who knows the cost and pays it anyway. Delay now, rise later. And when you do rise, it won't be fast, it will be forever. Your future listens to your routine. Your dreams are not waiting on a miracle, they are waiting on a routine, not on luck, not on bursts of motivation, but on small, deliberate acts, repeated without applause, because your future isn't built in sudden breakthroughs. It is crafted in daily rituals. That's where power hides, in the repetition, in the ordinary, in the commitment to keep showing up even when nothing seems to change. It may look simple, it may feel mundane, but those who master the mundane become masters of destiny. Why is this so hard? Because we are trained to chase the finish line, not the footsteps. We want results, but we resist routine. We want transformation, but we despise repetition. The world glorifies the dramatic moment, the overnight success, the viral story, the big break, but it forgets to mention the man behind it all, quietly laying brick after brick while no one watched. The man who wins long term doesn't rely on inspiration. He builds rhythm. He doesn't ask, "Do I feel like it?" He declares, "This is what I do." His life is not a lottery. It is a system, a rhythm, a pattern of daily discipline. He knows that power belongs to the consistent, not the intense. What should that rhythm look like? Simple, repeatable, non-negotiable. Wake up on time, move your body, guard your mind, build your skill, reflect on truth. Do it even when you don't feel like it, especially then. Because anyone can act when it feels good, but the man who acts regardless of feeling, he is the one who finishes. Picture a man who treats each day like a brick. He doesn't wait for the blueprint to be perfect. He lays what he can with care and intention. Some days the weather is good, some days it isn't. But he shows up regardless, and without realizing, without trying to impress, he builds a fortress. Not because he rushed, but because he repeated. Ask yourself, what does your routine say about your destiny? Are your days structured to build strength, or do they excuse your delay? Every day is a vote. Every choice is a brick. Every morning is another chance to prepare the foundation for what you say you want. You cannot predict the future, but you can prepare for it. And preparation looks like discipline. It looks like boundaries. It looks like doing what others avoid until it becomes who you are. The man who succeeds is not always the smartest or the most talented. He is the one who keeps showing up long after the excitement fades. So build your routine like it's a prophecy, because it is. Each repeated act is a message to the future. I'm coming, I'm building, I'm ready. And one day when the moment comes, you won't have to rise to it. You will already be there because you trained for it. You built it one simple, powerful, faithful day at a time. Let your habits speak louder than your hopes. Let your routine preach louder than your promises. And let the man you become be the result of the structure you chose, not the feelings you followed. Build brick by brick, day by day, until the prophecy is fulfilled. Comparison is a trap with no exit. Every time you compare yourself to another man, you rob yourself of progress. You think you're gathering motivation, but you're gathering misery. You trade momentum for paralysis, focus for frustration, because comparison is not fuel, it's a leak. A slow, silent drain that steals your energy, your joy, your clarity, and worst of all, your voice. When you chase echoes, you forget your own sound. You try to win a race that was never meant for you. You run at their pace. You aim at their target. And in doing so, you abandon your own. It is not only exhausting, it is dangerous. Because you can win someone else's game and still lose your own life. Their timing is not your timing. Their struggles, their blessings, their breakthroughs, they were never meant to be copied. They were tailored for them, just as your trials and triumphs are custom fit for you. But still we compare. Still we scroll. Still we measure ourselves against curated moments and public masks. Why? Because validation feels safer than vision. Approval is immediate. Vision takes faith. It takes courage to trust what no one else can see yet. But when you trade your vision for their validation, you silence your calling. You shrink your mission to fit their applause, and slowly you stop building, you start performing. So how do you escape this trap? Start building. Write your own scorecard. Define your own win. Ask not what the world claps for. Ask what your soul craves. You were not made to impress. You were made to align. And alignment never needs permission. It only needs clarity and action. Picture two craftsmen. One is always glancing over, comparing his chisel strokes to the man beside him. The other is locked in, focused, steady, refining his own hand. Who wins in the end? Always the one who builds, not the loudest, not the most liked, but the one who stays faithful to the work. Ask yourself, are you using others as a mirror or as motivation? Are you observing to learn or to shrink? There is a difference between inspiration and imitation. The former fuels, the latter frustrates. Learn from others, but build as you, because the only comparison that counts is between who you are today and who you were yesterday. Break the mirror. Stop using someone else's reflection to decide your worth. Pick up your hammer. Craft your life. Lay your bricks. Shape your destiny, not in competition, but in commitment. Every day you build as you step into freedom. You reclaim power. You multiply progress. Because the man who stops comparing starts creating. And that man cannot be stopped. Be that man. Your environment predicts your direction. You may have the vision. You may have the fire, the drive, and the relentless work ethic. But if your environment is toxic, your roots will rot. It doesn't matter how powerful the seed is. If the soil is poisoned, nothing legendary grows in contaminated ground. And yet, men overlook this. They believe grit can overcome gravity, that willpower can outlast sabotage. But even the strongest oak will crumble if its roots are soaked in acid. Your environment is not just physical, it is emotional, it is mental, it is spiritual. It is the tone of the voices that surround you, the energy of the people you allow in, the conversations that shape your thinking, the books that occupy your shelves, the habits of those you spend your time with. You absorb it all, whether you notice it or not. Why is this so powerful? Because your environment doesn't just reflect who you are, it amplifies it, for better or for worse. If your environment pulls you down, it will make your climb 10 times harder. If it lifts you up, it will multiply your momentum. Every voice, every space, every habit is either nurturing your destiny or poisoning your potential. So how do you upgrade it? You audit ruthlessly. Ask, what feeds me? What depletes me? Which voices light my fire and which ones dim it? Who speaks to my vision and who drags me back to my history? Stop giving access to those who dishonor your growth. Choose relationships that reflect your future, not your past. You are not obligated to maintain friendships that chain you to mediocrity. Then look at your physical spaces. Are they structured for discipline or distraction? Is your desk a launch pad or a landfill? Is your morning shaped by clarity or chaos? Create environments that make excellence easier. Set the standard not just for your actions, but for the space that surrounds them. Picture a man training in a muddy field. His every step is a struggle. His energy is spent just trying to stay upright. Now move that same man to solid ground. Watch him fly. Watch him break records. The effort was never the problem, the environment was. Ask yourself, are your surroundings supporting your standards or are they seducing you into settling? You cannot afford to normalize dysfunction. You cannot afford to build dreams in rooms that insult them. You must guard your atmosphere as fiercely as you guard your goals. Because environment is not neutral, it is prophetic. It is a forecast of your future. Stay in the wrong soil long enough and you will wither. Plant yourself in the right ground and you will flourish. The environment does not ask permission to influence you, it simply does. So be bold, make the cuts, raise the standard, rearrange the space, distance yourself from what dulls you, draw closer to what sharpens you. Build an environment that calls you higher, because you cannot rise while rooted in what is dragging you down. Protect your ground, and let your roots run deep in places where greatness can grow. Your identity must evolve before your results do. You want a new life, a new level, a new legacy. But the question isn't what do you want? The question is who are you willing to become? Because change does not begin at the result, it begins at the root. And the root of every lasting transformation is identity. Until you shift who you believe you are, nothing external will stay. You might spark a change, you might begin a habit, but without the foundation of a new self-image, it won't last. Because your brain, by design, fights to stay consistent with the person you believe you are, not the person you hope to be, the one you already think you are. This is why so many men sabotage their own growth. If you believe you're undisciplined, you'll break every structure you build. If you believe you're weak, you'll fold at the first resistance. If you believe you're not worthy, you'll reject every win that comes your way. And then you'll say, I knew it! But it wasn't fate, it was identity. And here's the truth. If you shift your identity, your habits must follow. because behavior flows downstream from belief. The man who believes he is a warrior trains like a warrior. The man who believes he is a builder builds, regardless of how he feels. So how do you change your identity? You speak differently, you act differently, you decide differently. Not once, but until your nervous system catches up. You don't wait to feel like the new man, you act like him and let the feeling find you. You declare, "This is who I am," and then you prove it, one decision at a time. You don't fake it, you forge it. Picture a man who once saw himself as broken. Every mirror whispered shame. Every step forward felt fake, until one day he made a choice, not to pretend he was whole, but to become the builder, not of a house, not of a career, but of himself. With every act of integrity, with every commitment kept, he laid a brick. He didn't wait for the world to affirm him. He rewrote his identity in silence until the old story no longer fit. Ask yourself, who are you becoming by default? What assumptions are shaping your days? And who could you become by design? What version of you would emerge if you cut the old narrative and build a new one from truth? You are not locked in. Your self-image is not set in stone. It is shaped by repetition. Repetition of thought, repetition of behavior, repetition of choice. Start choosing what aligns with the man you want to be. Speak words that honor him. Build habits that serve him. Stand in decisions that reflect him, and the story you live will begin to shift. Because once you rewrite the image, the story follows like a shadow. You want a new life? Then stop trying to decorate the old one. Become a new man, and everything around you will change to match him. You teach the world how to treat you. You are not just a product of what the world gives you. You are a mirror of what you permit. Every time you let disrespect slide, you sign off on your own diminishment. Every time you shrink to keep someone else comfortable, you dim the fire that was meant to lead you. The world does not shape you alone. You participate in that shaping through your silence, through your compromise, through what you tolerate. This is not about arrogance, it's about alignment. You teach people how to treat you by what you accept. Your boundaries speak before your words. Your tone reveals more than your title. And your standards, they are your signal. They declare to the world, this is the level. Why is this so urgent? Because without self-respect, success becomes hollow. You can gain the world and still feel like a stranger in your own skin. You can collect followers and lose yourself. You can rise in status but shrink in spirit. And then you wake up one day and realize you built a life that rewards your talent but punishes your truth. Respect is not just something you receive. It is something you reinforce through clarity, through consistency, through courage. You don't demand it with noise. You earn it with posture, with decisions, with distance when necessary. So how do you teach the world? Stand firm on your values, not situationally, but daily. Let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Do not confuse kindness with compliance. Walk away when necessary, not as an act of pride, but as an act of protection. Speak clearly, not to control, but to clarify. And never apologize for having a standard. The right people will rise to meet it. The wrong ones will reveal themselves in their refusal. Picture a lighthouse. It doesn't chase ships. It doesn't scream to be seen. It simply stands, unmoved, lit, certain. And because it stands, it saves. The ships adjust their course, not the lighthouse. That is your model. Be rooted, be radiant, be resolute, and let the world respond. Ask yourself, are you being too polite with your destiny? Are you biting your tongue where you should be drawing a line? Are you letting others write your script while your story waits to be lived? You are not made to bend to every wind. You are made to anchor in truth. The world does not give you what you ask for. It gives you what you enforce. It reads your cues. It watches your response. It listens when you walk away, and it watches what you walk toward. Teach it wisely, not with rage, but with resolve, not with volume, but with value, not by lowering yourself, but by lifting your standard. Stand like that lighthouse, not just for others, for yourself, because every time you stand firm, you remind your soul who you are. And when you live like that, the waves may crash, but they will never consume you. The tide will shift, the winds will change, but the man who stands in truth never has to chase what he is destined to attract. Hold your ground and let the world adjust. Your energy is your commercial, not time, not money. The most valuable asset you possess is your energy, because where your energy flows, your life grows. It is the current that powers every goal, every habit, every relationship, and yet most men treat it like loose change, spending it mindlessly, scattering it on complaints, gossip, and pursuits that deplete rather than build. You think you're managing your time, but time without energy is useless. What good is a free hour if you have no fuel to use it? What good is opportunity if your spirit is too tired to seize it? This is why energy is everything. When your energy is high, the impossible begins to feel possible. You move with momentum. You think with clarity. You act with power. But when you're drained, even the smallest task becomes a mountain. Conversations feel heavy. Purpose feels distant. Your vision blurs, not because it's gone, but because you're too tired to reach for it. So the question becomes, how do you protect your energy? You start by removing energy thieves, conversations that go nowhere, people who drain your soul, habits that deplete your strength. Every small leak eventually sinks the ship. You must be ruthless, because your mission is too important to keep sacrificing it to distraction. Guard your mornings like sacred ground. That first hour isn't casual, it is crucial. Begin your day with intention, not reaction. Move your body, feed your mind, pray, read, write. Whatever fills the tank, do it. Before the world makes demands, you must fill your reserves. And beyond the morning, stay close to what expands you. Read words that lift you. Build with people who stretch you. Say yes to what charges your soul and no to what drains your... This is not selfish, this is stewardship. Picture a fire in the middle of a cold forest. That fire is the difference between life and death. If it is fed, it warms the space, lights the night, signals hope. But if it is neglected, it fades, it flickers, it dies. And so does the possibility it carried. You are that fire. So ask yourself, what are you giving energy to?